Joining us this afternoon. We are here today to discuss the Urban Forest Management Plan. This is our second virtual public meeting, and this will be the only meeting of this sort that we're doing as we approach the end of the plan development process. My name is Meredith Branstad. I'm with Helix Environmental Planning, and I'm joined today here on the call with representatives from Davie Resource Group and with the City of Davis. And again, thank you all for being here today. Next slide, please. So today we're going to go through an overview of the Urban Forest Management Plan. We're going to have a brief discussion of how our previous public and collaborator input has been integrated into the plan, that all the input that we got all fall. And then we'll go over the next steps. This presentation will be followed by an open discussion and question and answer period. Please do note that this meeting is being recorded, and if you have any technical issues, you can message us in the chat. And so our goal tonight really is to walk through the organization of the Urban Forest Management Plan, and then also to listen to your comments and thoughts about it. Next slide. So the purpose of the Urban Forest Management Plan is to communicate the community's vision for the urban forest going forward. It is looking at a 40-year time span, so fairly lengthy, and it is going to provide recommendations that guide the care and planting of the trees and the growth of the urban canopy cover. Next slide. And so the process that has been used to develop this plan is it started with a resource analysis, looking at tree canopy and land cover and assessing those, looking at the background information that the city has about their trees and the operations and maintenance review of how that's going now. There were extensive interviews with a number of collaborator agencies and groups that we'll get into later. There was a community engagement process through the fall that involved both in-person and virtual meetings, as well as lots of public meetings at the Tree Commission and other city events. And then all of that information coalesced and helped inform the development of the Urban Forest Management Plan itself. Next slide. So the management plan sets out 7 goals. You can see here, ranging from promoting tree preservation and protection, continuing to maintain our urban forest, setting baselines for no net loss of tree canopy, and optimizing our urban forest programming. Also, a goal to engage the community and really continue to build on the community interest and stewardship for the urban forest. One of the goals is, of course, to adopt the Urban Forest Management Plan, and then also to align it with other guiding documents, such as the tree ordinance and other city standards. And ultimately, all of this kind of comes together to grow a climate resilient urban forest. Next slide. So the draft Urban Forest Management Plan, we're going to spend the next number of slides kind of walking through the plan online, and the important thing I think about this plan, and what makes it very different, is that this is a web-based document rather than a static PDF. It's kind of a constantly living document that can be updated regularly and can be accessed through the city's website from anywhere. But that does make it a little bit different. And I know there have been some discussions over the past few months as the draft plan has gone live, and we've heard comments about the navigation and questions about that. And so those comments have been noted, and some of the navigational issues are going to be addressed as we move into the next iteration of the plan in the next few weeks. Next slide. So this graphic just gives an overall kind of the architecture of the plan. You can see that from the homepage, then you can go through to these different other subpages: the state of the urban forest, the benchmarks, resources, implementation plan, and the urban forestry operations and funding. We're going to talk about all of those in more detail in a moment. There are also other two related pages, the story map and the tree keeper canopy. And until this Friday, March 3rd, there is a comment box on that main homepage that will be going away shortly. Next slide. So the state of the urban forest, you can see here in the upper corner, that's the drop-down menu that you would see on the city's website. And through each of these pages, we've highlighted which menu item we're talking about to help with that navigation question. So the state of the urban forest page summarizes the current condition of the urban forest, and it documents the value of those benefits that are provided by the urban forest. And that looks at air pollution and what the urban forest is doing to mitigate that in relation to stormwater, tons of carbon, all of those kinds of values that the urban forest provides that are more than just it's a tree with shade, right? It provides lots of other values for the community. And this page is expected to be updated annually as more data comes in and as the city updates, how many trees there are and their size and things like that. Next slide. The benchmark section. This benchmark section presents the background information that was used in the development of the urban forest management plan. And this includes the tree canopy and land cover analysis, the city tree resources, which was from a 2018 inventory of city trees, sustainability indicators, and it also documents the community and collaborator engagement process. So this is sort of the background information on which the management plan was based. Next slide. And one of the interesting things that you can find in the quick links box below that main menu is the urban forest story map. And this is an interactive map that basically kind of showcases and illustrates all of the data or much of the data that is also found in that benchmark section. So this map, you can turn layers on and off and look at different parts of the city. What's turned on here, you can see in this graphic, was the tree sites and the planting sites, and then canopy in the right of way. So you can look at various layers and look and see where there are trees, where there maybe need to be more trees, and then also look at some of the census information that goes along with different neighborhoods. And so this is a lot of the background information and planning that went into developing this management plan, and it will be updated periodically as more data is available, and new layers will be added as they become available. Next slide. The implementation plan is really kind of the heart of the management plan. It presents the detailed goals, the objectives, and the actions that the city is going to pursue in building that resilient urban forest. It includes, for each goal, you can see here down at the bottom that there is the goal, and then the green text of set emphasis on planting the right tree is one of the objectives. And then below that, there are a number of actions that go to that. And for each objective, this page will track the estimated or the current priority, the time frame, and the potential cost of that, and then this progress towards it. So this page will be updated annually as the city looks each year and says, how are they going towards meeting these goals? So this is a really great page because it can help really show that transparency of how is the city progressing towards implementing the management plan. Next slide. And related to this is another page that is linked off of the city site here, the Tree Keeper Canopy. This is an interactive map planning tool that can be used by either the city or members of the public to guide that management and planting. So this tool has all the data in it from the city tree inventory. And then you can set different parameters and set different priorities to look at over time how changing various priorities or implementing certain policies or actions will change the tree canopy over time. And then it can also model, as you see here on the left in the graphic, can model what are the benefits of that proposed change, and then also what is the approximate cost for that. So this is a tool that can be used in an ongoing way to look and assess alternative actions that might be taken and try and decide which one is the best investment or that best meets the needs and the priorities that have been outlined and is consistent with the city's budget and operational abilities at the time. Next slide. So the operations and funding page presents information about all the urban forestry operations. This includes staffing, it looks at fundings and budgets, it has a lot of operations processes like the permit review, design review, pruning schedules, tree removals, all of the things that the city has to do to take care and maintain and grow their urban forest. It also includes a subpage that has recommended tree species and some general tree characteristics for some specific planting conditions, such as under utility lines, in residential yards, in parks and open space versus street trees, and then different species that are appropriate for various situations. And the city is also in the process of working with a number of collaborator partners on developing a more regional master tree list, which will be added in the future and is expected to likely replace the existing city's master tree list. So that's another process that's underway. Next slide. And then finally, the resources section. This offers links to the related documents like the policies and regulations, the city, such as the tree ordinance, technical guidance about irrigation or tree planting, other tools and references, educational resources, and then permits and maintenance schedules. So this is sort of all of the other technical documents that go into supporting or are related to the urban forest. Next slide. So that was a quick walkthrough of the website and how it's broken down into the various sections. And then we also wanted to just go over the community engagement thus far. So as I mentioned, in the fall, we had a few pop-up workshops. We had over 90 people, separate people, attend over 2 days. In addition, 35 people submitted thoughts through the virtual comment box. 15 people also have submitted email comments. There have been 7 presentations to the Tree Commission. We did also a virtual community meeting in the fall, which some of you may have attended. And there was also a photography contest, which received 73 submissions. So there's been a lot of community engagement and opportunities for engagement throughout this process. And all of the comments that were received by December 16th are all integrated into the community engagement summary, which is available on the website. And all of those comments were then taken into account and considered when the urban forest management plan was developed. Next slide, please. In addition to the community engagement, the project team also has been engaging with a number of collaborators. There were 16 separate groups, departments, or organizations who reached out to. We actually got 19 responses to questionnaires, and 11 collaborators actually were able to take the time to do in-person interviews. And then there have been 8 working group meetings. So there's also a lot of collaborator engagement with other groups in the community, such as Tree Davis, I believe the Sacramento Tree Foundation, UC Davis, other kind of interested groups here, so that the city is developing this management plan in partnership with them and taking their thoughts and considerations and priorities into account as well. Next slide, please. So our next steps. we're here today to listen and get feedback. And then the public comment period on this draft urban forest management plan closes this Friday, March 3rd. And you can submit comments on the website. There's a link here, or via email at citytrees@cityofdavis.org. Then following those comments, the project team will be reviewing the comments, looking through them, and then making updates and edits to the management plan online. And then the next iteration of the plan will be presented to City Council on Tuesday, March 21st. That is, of course, a public meeting, and you are welcome to come and give comments there as well. The QR code in the corner will actually take you straight to the website. If you would like to, you can use that as well, or you should be able to click on the link. Next slide. Right. At this point, we're going to open this up for discussion. We really look forward to hearing any comments or questions you may have. And if you would please raise your hand, which is, you should have a raise hand button at the bottom of your screen if you'd like to speak, and then we will call on you, and we look forward to hearing from you. I also like to say, in the interest of hearing from everybody, we'd like to limit questions at this time to one question in the first round, and then we are happy to go back to everybody once everyone's had a chance to speak. We just want to make sure we hear from everybody. And I think, Tina, I'm going to be turning it over to you from here.
Thank you, Meredith. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us again for another presentation on the Urban Forest Management Plan draft. We appreciate you taking the time to come out this evening and join us and give us your ideas and thoughts on the plan, and we're happy to listen and also answer questions where we're able to. I don't see a panel where the hands would show. Maybe somebody can.
Tina, I have that up, and I'm waiting to see if there are any hands or any questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Stan.
Sure. As of right now, no questions.
All right. Did we want to hang out for just a little bit and see if there are any questions from the folks that are here today?
Absolutely. And we are here for your public comments. So if you just want to make a comment, you don't have a question, you just have a comment, we're happy to listen and note that comment.
I think we give it a few minutes and then we can call it good.
Just to fill the silence, just to remind people that if you do have any questions, go ahead and raise that hand. Otherwise, we will look to close our public meeting.
Okay. Well, I think would like to thank everybody for attending. And if you do have any questions, as Adrian mentioned, you can message us and make those comments. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you for coming.